Hello, Ms Preeti Alinghan.
Back. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry for the delay. Somehow we always end up with a lot of technical glitches. I don't know, just trying to sort it out. Okay, so let's start. So good evening, ladies in the India and across the globe, and I think especially good afternoon to the ladies in the UK. So let me start by few lines about our organization. We call ourselves Inspiring Indian Women. So this was born in the UK basically, and the founder is Ms Rashmi Mishra. So it's a platform for all like-minded women who come together and try to help each other, help other women in all parameters of life. It's not only about abuse or anything, but we're just trying to empower, help, and lean a shoulder, and also appreciate anybody's efforts and somebody who has done something different, something inspiring, something motivating. And this chat session, the baddest beauty, is one of the steps so that we can showcase women's work and also help other women see and get motivated and inspired. So for today, our badass beauty is Ms Preeti Alinghan. So I read quite a bit about her, and I'm impressed beyond words, ma'am. The journey and the way you have lived your life is very inspiring. Thank you so much for being our guest today. So I would like to. Ladies, I would like to introduce you to her. I mean, I'll just tell you about her. So she's a romantic soul with never-ending zeal to conquer and explore new terrains in life. So she's an extraordinary woman who is breaking many glass ceilings and setting up new standards for us all. So blessed with unending grit to convert every difficulty into an opportunity. And such lovely words. And I think this speaks so much about you. And there were two sentences which I found so beautiful. So you believe that women are epitome of pleasure and sensuality, and have the courage to radiate endless love by owning their pleasure space. I think we women are yet so hesitant to talk about all the all of this aspect of our life, and you have mastered the mastered this. So I think hats off to you. And about your journey, I will let you speak about how you have started, or your background and your childhood. So Preet Alinghan, off to you. If you could start from
Thank you so much. Firstly, a very good evening to the Indian audience and to the women out there in UK. Very good afternoon. And I have to applaud you guys are doing an amazing job inspiring Indian women and connecting them with the thread across the world, So that's amazing. I keep saying this, that there is always a brethren, but there has to be a sisterhood across, because that's
Definitely.
one thing that I always speak to women, that's the missing link that we have. We are not there for each other. This is a great initiative, and I see the work that you're doing. A great kudos to you guys. Right. And thank you so much for having me on this platform. I would like to do my bit so that I can give a ray of hope to any other woman across, right?
Yes.
And coming from an Indian origin. So, yes, what would you like to know? I mean, how much love there
so,
actually.
Yes. So if you could start from the beginning. So unfortunately, you have been affected by polio at the age of 2, and then henceforth your journey was not as pleasant as anybody's childhood has to be. So how much of you're comfortable, and could you enlighten us a little as to what were your experiences in your childhood? Basically, how was your childhood?
Yeah, I would say challenges are thrown to everybody in life. So each one is different, and I think we given the challenges by universe, something that we can handle and something we are meant to go through. There's a saying, right? You are here to play a role, a drama. You're a part of that puzzle. So yes, for a long time I thought these were challenges, but today I look at blessings.
Oh, nice.
Right. I was born in a typical North Indian Brahmin family with a dusky skin. So all the more, not fit into the typical beauty of a woman.
Uh,
And to add to that, I was struck by polio at the
hmm.
age of 2.5 nearly, right? So I think so that's how typically the conditioning is, and how we look at women. And not just here in India, I see across the world, woman is always looked as a liability,
Right.
because the focus, somewhere is always that you have to take care of a woman, right?
Hmm.
So that's how I grew up with. And unfortunately, what happened is by the age I was 14, my parents separated.
Okay.
So there was a lot happening, being not wanted, not belonged, because of my color, and then the physical challenges, and then seeing this kind of really devastated me,
Correct.
at that early age of 14. It's like as a human, we want to feel, it's an innate desire to be belonged, to be to feel validated, and to be among people whom you feel close to and
Yeah.
connected.
Protected. Yes. Yes.
Yes, protected, right? So and that's something that kind of put me under a lot of but they say always when you have challenges is somewhere you come up with either breakthroughs. So it's quite it might sound very weird, very funny, but for me, my awakening, or I could say spiritual awakening, actually happened through sexuality,
Hmm.
right? And
Hmm.
that is what gives me the courage to speak about these things. I landed upon a book from Osho, and
Okay.
when you're a teenager, right? Because there are changes happening in you and things, and all this was happening just at that point of time. I found this literature which spoke about sexuality in such a divine and a sacred and a conscious manner. That was my
Hmm.
first exposure. So it was a beautiful exposure, because of which, despite, and I started finding some kind of a enlightenment and a solace in that, right? So that was there in the back of mind, but what I was listening outside wasn't too right about sexuality, or ye
Hmm.
jaddojahat. I hope people can understand Hindi, so there are things, certain things you can express well in Hindi. Ye jaddojahat chali rahi thi,
हाँ
right?
जी,
Along
हाँ.
with that, my parents separated, so I had to um, you know take care of my siblings. And pretty young, pretty early, I started taking shouldering a lot of responsibilities. But also
Hmm.
what happened is that एक चीज, one dream, one aspiration or an ambition that I made in my life at that point of time, and I have one of the best families ever. I will put my being born as a woman to the best use. I'll be one of the best companion, lover, homemaker, and a mother.
Right.
So there were no possibilities of it anywhere close, because I was told, physically disabled, get married to a disabled. You are dusky, oh, it will be so difficult to get you married. You are dumb, you don't have brains. Okay. So there was no close possibility to seeing this dream coming true. But
Mm-hmm.
that was my dream. I said,
Right.
I'm gonna have one of the best families ever. And so I walked on this path with all that, you know, um, Josh, and thankfully, at 28, 21 itself, I was lucky I did get married.
Okay.
So,
Mm-hmm.
and it was not such a difficult task. My colleague reached out to me. I got married at the age of 21 itself,
Okay.
right? But now what is happening is this was my dream coming true, but it all collapsed because it
Mm-hmm.
didn't really. And at that point of time, I was just like, what is this happening now? So many challenges, and again, this is happening to me. Now, what I would like to share here in a nutshell, that you have a desire, you want to do something, but unfortunately, we don't have the right guidance, the right hand holding around.
Mm-hmm.
And especially, what I have learned in my journey, and what is something that I teach to women is, I think the major challenge that I had is I was so disconnected with my body,
Mm. Yes, yes.
and which is where all the insecurities came in. So
Right.
even when I had something handed over to me in a platter, I could not make it work.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the journey kept on. I got into a relationship again. So, I became a single mother. Uh, and then again, I got married. So this has been a journey of around 26 years. And
Right.
every time that I was trying to navigate through it and trying to fulfill that teenage dream of mine, I was failing. I was failing and I was wondering why.
Right.
I was giving my more than 100% in every
Hmm.
relationship. Born a North Indian, I would turn into a complete South Indian, the South Indian man that I married, right? I would learn I was a great cook. I learned cooking. I did everything to make it happen in my own understanding, but
Right.
it was not happening.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
it took me long to actually two marriages and a relationship to actually understand where I was going wrong.
Right.
Now, the biggest challenge that we have is marriages to us, especially to we women, is actually told that a marriage is your gateway to your comfort life, or
Hmm.
once you get married, everything will get resolved. Marriage is going to fix everything. A
Actually, yeah.
relationship, so let me put it, a relationship is going to fix everything. Or
True.
if we
True.
spend a lot on marriages, but
True.
do we invest in relationships?
Hmm.
We don't invest in relationships
Yes. Yes.
because we think marriage is going to seal the deal. Everything is going to be just perfect in our lives. By the way, there's nothing called perfect, but
But
everything
yes.
will be
Yeah.
just हो जाएगा, सब ठीक हो जाएगा, once you
Hmm.
get married.
Right.
And I also carried the same dream, but then I realized, okay, God did give me opportunities, but I didn't know how to actually enjoy the cake,
Right.
right? So that's been my journey, and yeah, I wasn't always like this because I was also among the crowd. I was listening to all the outside noises,
Hmm. Hmm.
passing on the blame to others,
Right.
acting from a victim mindset. कि नहीं, oh, this is happening to me, poor me. But it took long that how long I'm going to do this,
Right. Right.
how long I'm going to continue doing this and keep,
Hmm.
I need to do something about it. And that's where my inward journey happened. And that's where I started looking at what I can correct in my own self. And
Hmm.
when I did that, I realized that things around me started changing. I
Right.
started becoming okay. Today I am married. I'm married twice, but today I have great relationship with the men that I've married.
Okay.
So they are
That's
not my husbands anymore, but we still have a very cordial relationship. We are bringing up kids together. So
right.
I realize that not everything has to be the way it is being told to you, right?
Yes, correct. Hmm. What the society perceives as perfect need not be perfect to us, right? So it's
Yeah, there is no set rule, that how a
yeah,
relationship should be. It is,
right.
I always say this, it is for a couple, it is for the people who are involved in the relationship to actually decide the dynamics of their relationship.
Hmm. 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 True. True.
You can't go by what, you know, someone else's perception or someone else's
Correct.
definition. You know what's happening in your relationship and how
Hmm.
you can make it more, harmonious, more good for your own self.
Right.
So it's
Right.
going to work for you,
Right.
right? Today, like
Actually,
with my second husband, we co-parent the child, but
okay.
we always have this. We always joke around that we had to get married to become such great friends and family members. So
Right. Right. Oh, but I think it's very amazing that when you get stuck in a failed relation or not a working relation, and we start blaming, and we become so comfortable in that ball game that you are blaming others, you're blaming your past, or you're blaming your parents. But to come out and realize that this is not it, and and you realize that you have to take responsibility, that itself is a stepping stone, right? So many times so many things don't go according to what we want, and then we start blaming circumstances, blaming parents for everything. But I think that is a very strong step which you have taken to come out of it and take the responsibility and to go ahead in life.
yeah, I'll Dr. Krishna, that's a very good point that you put. There is always in people's life there always has to be some big driving force.
Mm.
I think when I mentioned my dream was the biggest thing that always comes to me. I wanted to be a great mother. Now, why did I take this big action? One big action that I took in my life was becoming a single mother. I had no support when I conceived my daughter.
Right.
And also this decision of taking ownership, it's not easy. It's very easy to pass on the
Very.
blame to others.
Yes,
मैं क्या
yes.
करूं? पता है मेरी
I
मम्मा
say,
ने ऐसा किया मेरे साथ,
I
इसने
know.
ऐसा किया. My husband was like this. But I could see the pattern.
Right.
I saw my mom, coming back to seeing that my mom blamed my dad. कि उनके कारण मेरी life खराब हो गई. And I saw it was, somewhere I had learned from their relationship. I would go back and analyze what went really wrong, because they
Right.
were like lovebirds and they would fight like crazy. So what I realized is that I was also, when I went through my first marriage, I did the same thing that my parents did. Somewhere, I mean, my mom. In fact, I got this comment also from my husband that you're following your mom's footsteps.
Right.
So that is where there was a time that I said, no, I can't continue this cycle. I
Correct.
can't, do the same thing. And what is the best way to actually tell your children to, do the right thing is by bringing about the change in their own self. So
Right.
for me, that was the biggest factor. If I don't clean up this mess in my, aura, it's going to pass on to my kids.
Pass on. Definitely.
That's not what. So somewhere, yes, I became a mother. Okay, because only thing I knew is okay, great, becoming a mom. But there's a big responsibility that comes. It's not just about conceiving a child and bearing the child for 9 months. It's more about what are you giving? What legacy are you giving to your kids?
True.
And I
True.
didn't want to give this legacy to my kids.
Right. Right.
And that was my biggest drive to actually bring about that change. It's not easy. You know,
Yes.
we normally are so defensive. Even me, I was so defensive. And I think at times we fall back into that trap. We don't
Right.
take ownership, responsibility.
Correct.
But today, at least what has happened with me is I've become so conscious that, okay, something's not happening around me, right? What is that I can change?
Right.
What is that I can change about it? And moreover, because it's my piece. So,
Right.
that
Right.
slowly that consciousness has come into me,
Right.
which doesn't come into people for a long time because of
Time
the
of
mentoring.
Yes, yes. And we mothers make so much of a impression on a child's mind, right? I mean, I unknowingly follow my mother's footsteps. I mean, so many times our likes, the way we speak, the way we act. Even though I have it in my mind, probably this is wrong, but then वो अचानक से हो जाता है अपने आप से. तो I think you're setting such a wonderful example for your children, especially your daughter. I'm sure she's going to be a very strong individual when she grows up. She's really going to love the way you have brought her up. Amazing. So if you can tell me
In
a
fact,
little.
she's my teacher,
Yes, yes. They are. We learn so much, especially patience. Can you tell a little more about your journey from the vulnerability phase to your the runner? You're trained to be a runner and you're a para athlete now. So how did that happen? It's very very interesting actually.
So what I feel is in life, as I said, right, always when you're hit to a point, to a certain challenge, either
Right.
you rise from there or you burn down to ashes. So that was my stage when I was around 36 with the birth of my second child. My son is about 11 now. And I had, I am blessed, not so affected by polio. I have shortening in my right limb and weakness in my right limb. So not as extreme as what, fatal polio
Could
can
have.
be.
Right.
But
Right.
still with age and with, 2 pregnancies, things, body started giving up. And that's where I had put on a lot of weight. And that is the reason I started running is, there was a point of frustration that came into my life that I actually just wanted to run away from everything. And I
Okay.
remember I was in Pune. I landed to the race course. I was actually tears welling down my eyes, and I was at this race
Mm,
course, and I just started running there.
right.
And so I was running away from challenges, and that's where I found, marathon running, because I was spotted by a coach.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, he had understanding about how to help a disabled to run.
Okay.
And that's where my journey started. So I didn't actually run to become a marathon runner. I was running in frustration, and that's where you
Ms
see,
Preeti
as I
Alinghan?
said, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Your video was paused for a moment. So that's okay. You
Yeah.
can continue now. Yeah.
Yeah. So as I said, right. So it was not that I chose running to become a marathon runner. I consciously took that decision, but out of frustration, when I started running, and I was spotted by this coach, Michael,
Okay.
and that's where he took me through the journey, and he told me that I need to get um, shoes, especially designed shoes made to
Mm-hmm.
to actually rectify the
Yeah. The gap.
shortening
Yeah.
and
The-
yeah
Yeah.
gap. And there are a lot of things about running, especially when you have scoliosis and things. But that was like a liberation to me,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the first step, the first time I actually started owning my body, and I realized what power my body has. And
Mm-hmm.
now, Dr. Grishma, the biggest challenge is that we are taught about our bodies, right? In terms of biology,
Right.
right? Okay, two hands, two legs, eyes, nose, how they have to be. There's a prototype being told to us, this is how you fit in, this is how your body is. And
Right.
right, but there is, our bodies are so magnificent, they are such amazing powerhouses.
Right.
uh, and why I'm putting focus to the body is actually, when you get into your body, you really start being in your body, you start finding the power in it. And that's
Mm,
what happened to me when I started running. So
right.
this weak leg started giving me back the strength. The more
Okay.
I started loving my body, the legs, the muscles, which had undergone atrophy because of the polio, started responding back. I mean, I
Wow.
have some really amazing, leg muscles built now over the
Okay.
years,
That.
right? It's about 7 years that I ran few marathons. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's something, that was a discovery, that was a learning for me. And that's where I started being more, listening more to my body,
Mm-hmm.
how my body feels, how my body responds to me,
You're right.
right? And that's given a lot of uh, transition in my looks, in my the way I carry myself, the way I feel about myself.
You're right.
I wasn't always like this, yeah, but
Yep.
running gave me that high. All
Right.
right. I couldn't continue marathon running for long because, as I said, right, the body doesn't, being a post polio survivor, the body doesn't support you so much. So I have
Mm,
challenges with my knee. But then I wanted to continue being in my body and, feeling that energy. So I shifted to another sport, that's shot put. So
wow.
arms hai na abhi. So
I
I
know.
play shot put now. Yeah. So
Lovely.
I've been doing, yes. So, and
Okay.
that too, I chose at the age of 44.
Oh,
So, yeah, so it's about 3 years now I am. And so it's not that I'm looking at reaching, I'm not goal oriented now. I'm
okay.
more about enjoying this
Living.
journey,
Yes.
living this journey. I
Journey.
love it when I hold that shot put. In fact, I've been asked many times, why not discuss? It's
Okay.
lighter, right? I
Right.
said, I love it. When I hold that shot put, I connect with it, right?
Right.
So
Right.
it's a little, it requires a lot more groundwork to actually be throwing shot put, because you're
Mhm.
holding weight and then throwing it, right?
Throwing it.
So, yeah, so there's a lot of workout that you need to do beforehand.
Right.
I mean, along with just shot put training. But I enjoy that. I feel good about it. It makes me feel great about myself,
That's
right? And that's the reason I do it. Yeah, and someday definitely I might reach the international podium,
oh.
right? So
All the best for that. I mean, we will
yes,
really hope and pray that you reach that, you achieve that, ma'am. That's very
yes,
inspiring. So, so you are basically an intimacy and felicity coach, right? So
right.
I may be ignorant, but I did not really know that something like this exists. So, so you can just tell what exactly it is and how did you uh, uh, feel the need to get certified? How did you, and why? So you also mentioned that your spiritual awakening happened because of the sexual achievements. So if you can just tell us in depth about this.
Yeah, as Dr. Krishna, I took you through my life journey, right?
Yes.
So I think we all are here on a journey with a purpose. आप
Hmm.
मैसेज क्या देके जाना चाह रहे हो? ये आपको you're actually designed. You've come here with a message that you have to give to the world and leave this world. You leave a legacy behind. So for me, when I started summing up everything, right? I think I was given polio. I was born dusty. I was born in India. I was born a woman for a reason. And then having this understanding about sexuality in the most divine form at a very tender age, because that's the age where you get the imprints that stay with you for life.
Hmm.
So it's not that I've not had bad episodes of sexuality. I've had, and I think
Hmm.
people will, a woman will relate to this. We all of us go through it. At least, you know, 7 out of 10 women go through a wrong physical exchange of energy. I
Hmm.
always call it an exchange of energy. In fact, my son also defines sex as physical. He says, Mama, it's a physical exchange of love energy, right?
Right.
He's 10. Yeah. So it's that exchange of energy that we go through, negative exchange of energies also, right? So it's not that it didn't happen with me, it did happen with
Hmm.
me. But
Hmm.
because of this understanding and the knowledge that I had stumbled upon at that age, I said, no, this can't be right. What's happening? There is
Hmm.
something better to it, right?
Hmm.
So that quest was always there. And
Hmm.
I will tell you, it is because of that quest to find that kind of energy, synergy, right, is where I kept coming across such people, such incidents, such moments, such energy fields around me. And uh, I mean, that's where I started understanding more. My curiosity led to getting into more deeper knowledge of it, understanding it much better. And I think somewhere it's intuitive as well with me. But for me, it was a journey of healing for my own self.
Hmm. Right. Hmm.
I heal. So for someone to be thought, okay, you don't look beautiful, you are not perfect in terms of your structure, your body. See, especially with we women, we are always told you need to have, you need to have this kind of a figure. You need to, uh, as small as नाक कैसे होनी चाहिए, आँख कैसे होनी चाहिए, breast
Yes,
कैसे होनी चाहिए,
actually.
इतना ज्यादा कर दिया जाता है that we as women stay so disconnected in our bodies. And then
Right.
coming back to why sex, you know, uh, we always look at sex. I mean, sex is so spoken about, such an exciting thing, right?
Hmm.
But we look at from the energy of uh, uh, act of procreation,
Hmm.
right? But there is something so more that happens through an exchange of physical energy. Is, I mean, look at the dynamics. You have arousal happening, you have orgasms happening through it. So there's so much happening, so much going, there's so much that a body can actually feel and experience. Now, why I say this is because we as women are so disconnected from our bodies.
Hmm.
We are so, from such a young age, we never look at our bodies. As much
Right.
as, from the age of 5 6, we're not allowed to look at our bodies.
Hmm. True.
Right. And when I see this, I come across women even so beautiful as per the outside norm, the world's norm. Still, they have this insecurity, this is so much of negative complex about, oh, this is not perfect, that is not perfect. What I'm saying here again, your body is not just the curves, not just
Hmm.
the definition of your eye and the nose and the lips. It is an
Right.
energy field.
Hmm.
It is a powerhouse of emotions. We
Right.
don't look at from that angle. And when you
Yes.
start looking at from that angle, you see how much it can actually magnificently create something so beautiful.
Hmm.
So
Right.
now when you look at, so when you look at, so, and that is the reason, I speak about, or I work on these lines of sexuality or
Hmm.
intimacy. This is all interchangeably used.
Right.
But yes, if you see, I call myself an intimacy and a felicity coach.
Hmm.
Intimacy necessarily always doesn't mean uh, physical intimacy.
Right.
That's the highest point of an intimacy. But intimacy has quite a few pillars. It's emotional intimacy, it's intellectual intimacy.
Hmm.
So let's break it down in simple words. Intimacy is about, I love to quote my great mentor, Esther Perel, how she defines it. Intimacy is
Hmm.
about into me, see. I want to be seen, heard, belong the way I am.
Right. Yes,
The
yes,
way
right.
I am.
Hmm.
Just see me the way I am.
True,
So
true.
when I want to share that intimacy with someone, I want that safe space with
Hmm.
someone who can let me be.
Right, right.
And being intimate is an innate desire of every human being. As kids, we are छोटे बच्चे होते हैं, we are quite intimate with everybody because we are not taught how to be intimate. We are naturally intimate by sharing anything and everything with our closest friends that we connect with. But
Right.
when we grow up, we start getting the outside conditioning. ये ऐसे करना है, कपड़े ऐसे पहनने, ऐसे दिखना है, ये बताना है किसी को, this is what you can share, this is what you can't share, this is how
Hmm.
he will judge you. So what
Right.
happens is we lose this, and along with it we start getting the imprints
Hmm.
from our mentors. Those are our parents and our grandparents and the
Yeah.
society around. So we start
Hmm.
getting these imprints, and then we start getting so blocked.
Right,
We
right.
we start losing to be our own selves.
Hmm.
But it's powerful when you start, so for me, it's always एक झटके that happened to me. Okay. Oh, you're in the dark. Oh, it's video frozen. Yeah, I think there's a bit of a challenge with the video.
అంటే వేరే ఏమైనా చూడు മമ്മി അങ്ങോട്ട് പോകുമ്പോൾ പോസ്റ്റ് ഇട്ടോ.
Hello. Hi.
Yeah.
Me?
Okay. Yes, I have. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think I
Sorry,
lost
sorry.
you.
I think I lost my connection. So sorry about that.
Okay. Yeah, I realized it for a while when you just went dark. So
Okay, okay. I'm so sorry. I think I know there was a power cut for some reason. Yeah, yeah. Yes, you were talking about physical intimacy and
yes.
yeah.
So yes. So what? So it's a sum of all that what I went through, and then
Hmm.
when you are it so started happening in the last about 10, 12 years. I with my insights, I started helping other people, right? And I
Hmm.
started realizing. So again, becoming an intimacy coach wasn't something that I chose to, or as you
Hmm.
said, right? We have not heard of this term.
Yes,
And
yes.
even today, I am still, in a lack of what would be a more appropriate um, title to what I do. I
Right.
honestly want to help women find the pleasure within themselves because pleasure is trapped in their bodies. Why I'm
Hmm.
saying trapped? Because it's there, we are born with that pleasure.
Right.
As I said, right, women are epitome of pleasure. And when you act from that space of pleasure, feeling pleasure in everything that you do, again,
Hmm.
pleasure out here is not just the arousal and the orgasm which you feel at the circumference of your body.
Hmm.
It is something that you feel within, right? So when you
Right.
start acting from that space of pleasure and you start radiating from there, there'll be more happiness that you can spread around.
Right.
So
Right.
for that, but you have to be first in the pleasure zone.
Correct. Correct.
Now
So
you see, here I want to touch upon a point.
Right.
You see, that's a common thing, it's a common thing when we talk about women. They say after time, no, women are not interested in sex,
Yes,
right?
yes.
When you look at the statistics, women have more nerve endings to feel arousal, to feel orgasm. But why are they not interested in sex?
Mm-hmm.
Because from the day one, a conditioning to a woman is given that pleasure is not meant for her. It is either an offering or it's a bargaining chip.
Mm-hmm.
So she does it for some objective. Either she's doing it as a duty or she's doing it as getting some favor done, right? And that's the
Right.
reason it is also labeled bad.
Correct, correct. Mm.
Or that's term, oh, this woman, oh, she's so sensual. That's not a good thing, oh, why is she like this?
Mm.
She thoughts a lot. No, but this is so why? Because it's been conditioned to her like that, and she doesn't ever live in her own pleasure. So
Right.
after a point, she says, "I'm done with it. You know what?
Correct.
Forget it. There's nobody around me understands what my pleasure means."
Right, right.
And so, I help women that you need to get connected to your pleasure for your own self first. When you're connected with your pleasure for your own self, then you're able to give from a space of offering.
Mm.
Otherwise, you're doing it as an obligation. And after some time, you'll just give up. Then there'll be frustration, there'll be tiredness, and anger, resentment, everything is just building up.
Mm-hmm. Right, right, right. I know, but there's so many aspects into this, right? First thing would be probably normalizing the whole thing. I mean, this is a taboo yet, especially in the Indian culture. I believe across the globe too, but especially in the Indian culture, it is a taboo. So the groundwork should start from normalizing it from the childhood or probably from teenagers, the teenage age, probably, especially girls. I mean, of course, in the boys too. But it has to start from there. And only then we will be able to achieve this happiness or this satisfaction, or not more than that. I think accepting our own self, accepting the way we are. Yes, and that's huge, because to change that, it takes it's going to take an entire community to work together, uh, without people interfering and judging. So ma'am, you coach couples, right? I mean, basically you coach the husband and the wife, and the couple has to
I no, I basically focus on women actually. Now there's
okay.
an object. See, as you said, right? It's a huge work. It's a huge work,
Hmm.
and there are quite a few within India itself. There are quite a few people who are doing a lot of amazing work like this, right? Creating
Hmm.
awareness, normalizing sexuality, normalizing
Hmm.
pleasure. Now, see, each of us have you know a, 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 a liking area. I would say something that for me, I connect with the more consciousness of sexuality.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
and the reason why is I think conscious sexuality or being more aware. It's like you eat something, right? But you eat it with all your senses is a different feeling altogether. We have forgotten to eat like that. There was a
Right.
time we would all sit down together, the music's playing, the candles lit, and there's a nice ambience around, and then you have food, right? That culture is totally lost. That was a
Hmm.
normal
Hmm.
thing. Similarly, that's how you actually eat. You should be eating with all your senses. Similarly, when we're talking about an exchange of love energy happening, it has to happen with all your consciousness,
Right. Right.
right? So for me, I focus more on helping couples bring that. Now, as we said, right, it's a vast area and there's a lot to be happening. But for me, I think that is something that I relate more, where I can actually help the couples in their 40s, when they have tried all alternative ways of having orgasms, I would say, right, to come to that magnetism of the body and actually
Right.
slow down and get aware, because they would be still willing to try this.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
that's what
Hmm.
I have learned in my journey. First, I was quite open to everybody, but then I realized that the whole willingness to try this alternative way of conscious sensuality is a
Hmm.
little youngsters are a little reluctant,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So that's the reason I started focusing, and I found that women are the more one who are willing to do the hard work. Now, this is a difficult journey. It's not a band-aid solution.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
not like this overnight. People, I mean,
Um,
A lot of people do come to me, but
Right.
is someone it's not an overnight shift that
True.
you will start experiencing more contentment and more blissfulness in your sexual behavior, in your sexual interactions. So you should be, so when people have tried all the alternative ways, then they are willing to actually come to this journey. Even for me it was a journey. I didn't
Right.
reach here to the level of understanding that I have when I was in my 20s, right? So
True.
yes, as you said, there's a lot of work to be done. We have to normalize this whole thing, because if you actually look at, it's everywhere, from billboards to magazines to
Actually,
phone.
yes,
Sex
yes,
is everywhere.
everywhere.
But where is the
Definitely.
exchange of that beautiful energy actually happening?
Right, right.
It's time that we, and we are a land of Kama Sutra, right? So when I interact with my international coaches, that's the thing.
Mm,
Oh, if it's you, I know we're going to be blessed. We get the best of the knowledge because we come from a land of Kama Sutra, right?
right.
And sad that right here we are not. Like how
Actually.
we gave away the agency for Ayurveda or for homeopathy or yoga to everyone
True.
else outside. We need to
Mm,
own it.
yes, yes. Very true. Mhm. So, Pam, what's your advice for women in general uh, about the journey what you have taken, and also about the intimacy and you know? So, what would you advise women in today's age?
I think one big challenge which I also faced, and I see most of people facing, and especially with women. Okay, as I said, we are not we are not taught, we are not told to have pleasure. We are not told to love our own selves. I again and again keep using the
Yes.
word pleasure. Pleasure can be anything as simple
Mm,
as
right.
listening to music or taking a long drawn bath or making your own favorite meal, right? So
Right.
I my message to all the women out there is something which I took so many years to learn, is it starts with self love, starts with self intimacy. When you start, so you have
Mm,
to start working on your own self, and that's where you'll see a shift
mm,
happening. So as you
mm,
asked me, right, I don't really work much with couples because it's a very difficult dynamics out here in India. Okay.
right.
Abroad, I think
Right.
people still go for couple counseling, but here it's a different thing. But I
Mm,
always prefer having women come to me because they are willing to do the work. But the first change they have to bring about in their own self.
right.
So nobody, this is something just few days back I said, and I'm just quoting it again, that nobody is actually going to imagine love you the way you have ever imagined. Nobody is going to pull up all the stars in the sky and hand it over to you just at the right time when you need it. Nobody is
Mm,
going to come riding on a horse and give you your lost shoe.
right.
That is more the reason why you have to love yourself so much, that any other love is just like adding candles to the cake that you've already iced.
Yes. That's so true. Yes. I just hope you all realize that, and we put that effort into our life from now. Uh, it's actually very. I mean, I'm so happy that I spoke to you. It's taking me to think back and think about myself. It's amazing.
Happy that
Ma'am,
it's
anything else
resonated
for
with you.
guests? We have a few guests. Yeah. So if anybody wants to talk or say something or ask any questions, I think Aarti ji is also here. She was our guest too.
Yes, I presume. Yes, I
Yes.
know. Aarti is a dear friend, though we have not met in person, but
Acha.
yes, we connect.
Yes.
Yes.
Hi everyone. Can I ask a question?
Yes, please,
Yes,
please.
Aarti.
Great. Sorry, I need to keep my video off because of bandwidth issues to this evening.
No worries.
But it was a great discussion. I've been listening intently, and a really good topic that has come up today. Thank you, Dr. Greeshma, for bringing this to the platform. My
Thanks for
question, my question is to Preet. How do you encourage women to come up to you? Because of the kind of topic this is,
Mm,
how do you really spread the message about the importance of intimacy coaching? Thank you.
Okay, I'll be very, very honest out here, Aarti. Thanks for bringing that up. But I'm still, I think you're aware, I work in very close circles. I am still not sure, how this is all going to work in India, because women do want to reach out to me, but they're still very hesitant,
Mm.
because it's something that one is that, oh, I have a problem with intimacy, I'm going to go and talk about it to someone else. That means I'm coming from a space of lack, right? So thanks for bringing that up, Aarti. But yes, I really don't have a proper strategy as to how to go about that.
Great. Thanks, Preet. Perhaps a platform like this is really going to help spread your message.
Yes, yes,
You
I
know,
do. As I shared, Aarti, right? People do reach out to me very secretively, but this is not something that people are going to discuss very openly. And this is not also something that you can do, wide mass training, right? It's very
Mm.
individual when it comes to things like this.
That's right. Yeah,
So,
that's
but
right.
I'm
Thank you.
definitely working on, I'll be willing to take more inputs as to how, we can do this. I mean, I can do this and reach out to more people and help them, not let them go through the pains that I went through in my life.
Great. Thank you for your answer, Preet. Thank you, Dr. Greeshma.
Thank you, Aditi. So one thing what we can do, Ms. Preeti Alinghan, is probably try and hold a webinar or something where, since we have a few ladies, quite a bit of ladies on board. So maybe in the next week or so, we'll try and hold a webinar for
Sure.
this. Is that okay with you?
Yes, come. Yeah, I'll be glad to do that. In fact, yeah,
Okay.
I've been thinking of that, but it's just that I specifically want to address only women as of now. No?
Yes, absolutely.
So
Yeah,
I've not
we
been
get
doing
it. Yeah. No, our organization is completely, we have only women. So we'll do that. We'll take that ahead, definitely. That'll be a nice platform. And I'm sure many people, as we discussed, because it's a taboo topic, not many people want to come, even though they're facing a lot of issues, a lot of problems. People don't reach out. So this will really help a lot of women.
The start of this discussion, when I started, I said, right, there is what we are lacking is the sisterhood.
Actually, yes.
Men will definitely come and talk about anything and everything, and they will bitch, they will, they will support each other with the wrong things and the right things also. But with we women, we don't really open up.
Right.
We don't get into. So I think that's the first step that we need to do is, build that sisterhood and be there for each other, resonate and sympathize with each other.
Right. True. Yeah. So let's join hands and
Sure.
take one step
That'll
at
be
a
that'll
time.
be
And
great.
yes, let's try and do that. So anybody else has questions or you want to share something?
Hi, I would like to ask a question to Preet.
Okay.
This is Kusum Shah.
Okay, Kusum. Yeah.
Hi, Preet. So first of
Hi,
all,
Kusum.
it was a beautiful discussion and I really enjoyed it. And my question is that why women are so hesitant about talking that they don't get orgasms and even to their own partner? This is one question which has been always in my mind, and why women are so hesitant about it that even they cannot even speak to their own partners in a way that they cannot even ask for it. And they'll just make faces, maybe even if they are educated, and they will not really fight for it. And do they really not think or realize that how important it is to have that fulfillment of physical love or bonding?
Yes, very true. Kusum, thank you so much for actually raising that question. That's a very, by large, uh, a very big challenge that every woman faces. And if I can tell you that even I, in my relationship, even today, if I have to share something, ask something, right, it is so conditioned. It takes me like, bolu, nahi bolu. So, I don't know, see, I'll share what I have understood in my journey, in my own journey, in teaching, in coaching my coachees, right, understanding from them is what I actually said in the start of this talk show, we women are conditioned very differently about sexuality. One is it's a duty. जब तक आपकी शादी नहीं होती तब तक you are told that pleasure, sexuality, arousal, orgasm, not for you. When you're about to get married, you're told it's your duty. You need to keep your husband happy. If you don't keep him happy, he will look for options. So right from the day one, it's been told that sexuality is a man's domain. It is for him. You are there to offer, either as a duty, or it is, some women are being tricked into it, or some women take that path. They understand, okay, this is something through which I can get things done for myself. It can be a bargaining chip for me. So even as simple as a glance or a smile or a flirt is my bargaining chip. We are talking about something more deeper as an arousal and orgasm, but even that she gets conditioned to using as a bargaining chip. Now, when you're acting from these spaces, you're not doing something for your own self. You are doing it from a space of either obligation or a favor or getting it done for you. This conditioning stays so much with us that we forget that pleasure is for us. It doesn't happen. I mean, I find myself a very lucky woman to have understood this at an age of 27, 28. I was when this whole event happened with me, which changed my complete perspective about that pleasure is meant for me. And so it's a conditioning, and that I was like, oh wow, why is this favor happening to me? Why is this favor happening to me? Why is someone so interested about my pleasure? But that was the starting point of me to start acting from that space that, okay, if a particular exchange is happening, my pleasure is also to be considered here. That slowly started giving me the voice, right? But it doesn't happen. Even, education can't help you with that, or, your position, your power, all this can't help you with that. It is a conditioning that one needs to go and change. I hope somewhere, if you could relate to that answer, Kusum, or, in fact, these answers have to come from people, from you, what you feel is honestly stopping you from actually being able to speak up and to, to ask for what
Actually,
you do.
yeah, Preet. So what happened, I have been very vocal about this, okay, with my partner always. But I was literally sabotaged for that. Like the answers were, I have never heard any woman talking like this, and you are this and that. And I heard all kind of he started swearing me and whatever XYZ things. So I was like, really? This is such a basic need. I'm not asking for something really much. I mean, as simple as a basic need, right? Like food, water, shelter, clothes, and sexual desire. So where do I go? Do I go for extramarital affair? Do I go to someone else who can understand what do you want me to do? Now, women who go out are also tagged for that, because first their partners will not, really fulfill that. Later on, they'll be tagged again as having extramarital affairs. Well, I'm not going there. My point was, who will fulfill it if not you as a husband, right? So that was the thing.
Kusum, that's a very, very valid thing that you're talking about, right? And I think eventually we have, not society as a whole, and then acceptance has come in, but even in law now, it's, they started mentioning, right? They started taking a stand for it, that as a woman, you also have the right to your sexual pleasure. And if your partner is denying it, but yes, of course, law can't enter your bedrooms and can, help you achieve that, right? But I thought your first question was that why do we don't speak? So to that, the answer is it's majorly the conditioning. And how do we go about getting what we want? So I've been there, Kusum, right? And I realized the work has to be done on your own self. You need to realize where you are, in what setup you are, and what you need to change about that. Right? You need to clear about those, the dynamics of the relationship that you are in. Right? One can't say, see, a sexual, you see, I mean, I have various thoughts about it, but then not everything applies here. Now, sexual desire, the fulfillment of your sexual need is a basic desire. And we as humans uh, are not necessarily supposed to be. We are not supposed to be actually having that necessarily in a relationship or in a marriage. It was a need to be fulfilled wherever you could, feel that comfortable exchange of your energy. But the conditioning in the society that we are in, that can't be done without a marriage or a serious relationship. So I think it's very important that you sit down with your partner and see how it is to be worked out or clear it out.
Absolutely. Thank you, Preet. So, why I said at the first place that women are not vocal about okay, you are my hubby and I can speak to you that I didn't get the orgasm. Okay, women are not vocal about it. They feel shy. They just make faces perhaps, but despite being educated, they don't have they really can't talk about it openly, even to their own husbands. Why I raised that point was because I think that awareness has to be brought more and more. One. Number two, that in the society, I will not say again and in patriarchy, because who is creating this patriarchy even in 2022? We, all
Yes.
of us. We have to come out of that, right? We cannot do everything on patriarchy without changing anything about it. And so let's
Very
start
much.
with a revolution, perhaps a movement that, yes, at least address this. You can speak about it. That was my concern.
Yeah, you're so right, Kusum. That's how every woman should speak. Let's normalize a woman's pleasure. And again, coming back to, it's so much a man's domain where sensuality lies in a woman. You know, so I say women are epitome of sensuality. Men are only navigators. Sorry, facilitators. Men can only facilitate it. Sensuality flows in a woman's body. There are more nerve endings, there are more curves in a woman, there's more sensation in a woman. But we have subdued it so much that it's just become, and that is more the reason why you are having so much of lack of sexual pleasure, because it's the woman who's going to drive it.
Right.
That's where
Absolutely.
the feminine energy is missing out here. See, even with the men, when the sexual act is happening, right, the physical exchange of energies are happening, there is so much of masculinity in that. It is so much of a friction based orgasm, acting from a space of masculine energy, not from the feminine energy. Feminine energy is fluid, it's slow, it's deeper. And that is what is missing in today's time with the advent of porn at everybody's fingertips now. So we don't actually we're not getting the right understanding about what sex is. I still for the lack of the right word, I still call it sex, but I prefer to call it an exchange of love energy that's happening between two people through your bodies. The biggest, largest sensate organ in your body is your body, is your skin, through which the exchange of energies are happening, right? And when it's so filled with love, it's beautiful, it's magnificent, right? So that's, as I would end it on that Kusum, it's about, yes, let's normalize that woman's pleasure is important. It's something which can't be ignored.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Preet.
Thank you so much, Kusum, for asking this question. Sorry.
Anybody else? Anybody else asking a question? Okay, I think that's it. I would like to end this session, but thank you so much, Preetji. It was very, very enlightening and very interesting. And hopefully we will join hands and take this forward and try and normalize it within,
Yes.
whatever is within our reach. So let's do that.
Let's get that
Thank you so
pleasure
much.
back. Pleasure back. This is something
Yes,
about
yes.
right, right?
Of course, right.
Right. Oh, Mana has a
So
question.
thank you so much. Yeah, please.
Okay, Manali
Mana
has a
Shetty,
question.
right.
Hi. Yes. she's typing, I guess.
Okay.
Okay. Manali, okay. Okay, fine. I think her question is come up now. Okay. So Manali, I understand what you're saying is, see, desires, the need for intimacy can be there in both the man and the woman both, but how you navigate through that and how you express it would be different. Some people are physical and some people are not, right? And I am talking here from experience, right? Because I have gone through a similar journey. It's surprising, it's shocking. It's a normal common myth, right? We think that men are always interested in sex, but not all men. Now, to a level, this can be worked where you are able to understand what is stopping a man from expressing himself in a through physical intimacy. So there are layers to it to actually resolve something like this. uh, and there are of course options to look out, right? But that's again will land you into more challenges. So I think every situation like this where there is a what you call difference in the interest level of partners of the couple, we have to understand what's going deep down. So this is what you can do through going through a lot of healing work actually. Are you there, Mana?
Yep.
Yeah. So when a man says actually that he's not interested, like, okay, let me tell you out of my experience and understanding, that is actually just giving an excuse. It is some other challenges that he's facing at an emotional level. Now, physical intimacy, which we always put so much of focus on, basically the foundation to it is emotional. It is emotional challenges that we face either when we express ourselves so much, or even to the extent of when we feel aroused or we experience orgasm, which is the epitome of a sexual interaction. It's basically your emotions. See how some emotion can just turn you off and some emotion can just turn you on to an extent, even without touch, right? So when a partner says like that he's not interested in a physical exchange of love energy, okay, there is an emotional blockage out there, and that is something that you can go through. You can overcome that. It's a little it's not an easy journey. It's not a quick fix, as I said, right? But it can happen when you're actually able to get into your body where your emotions are stored, which are blocking you. And it's a little longer drawn process. It takes time, but it does happen. And in the journey, you might see that you might find something new about your own self.
Thanks, Preet. Thanks a
I
lot.
hope. Okay. We can connect more, Manali, on that. I totally understand where you're coming from because that's been my journey too. So I have hands-on experience about that. Right. There's a lot that you learn from people, and there. I mean, I'm thankful that there's so much I have learned because of people that I have helped through. There's so much that you learn every day, but there are few things that you go through in your life, and they stay with you, right?
Thank you so much. That helped.
Thanks, Manali.
Mm.
Thank you, Preet. Thank you so much. Sorry, I forgot to ask you one question. That's about your surname. So you have, added, so please
Yes.
tell us about it.
Okay. So, you know, in my journey, I always felt I was a very courageous woman. Any problem, any challenge. But I realized what was the missing factor, that my love quotient, was going low, becoming a fighter. All my life, I became a fighter, right? And when I shifted that energy, I started acting from a space of love. So the reason that I added Alingan means in Sanskrit, loving embrace. And that's how I want to reach out, and that's what I want to radiate to every person that I come
Okay.
across. And that's how I call myself Preet. Preet also means love, right? And Alingan is embrace. So it's a loving embrace that I am offering to everyone. Because I think today the world needs more feminine energy and needs more
Right.
love. And the more you radiate love, the more it increases.
Yes.
So
Right.
yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Preet. We'll connect soon again. Yeah.
Sure,
Thank you.
sure.
Thank you
Thank
for
you
being
so
a
much.
guest.
Thank Dr. Greeshma. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Pleasure. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.